Scattered throughout the pages of Scripture, more often than most people ever realize, there are warnings. Not subtle hints, not poetic exaggerations. Warnings of a single catastrophic event, a great earthquake. Not the ordinary tremors we hear about in diverse places. Not the routine shaking of fault lines beneath restless continents. This is something else entirely. This is the earthquake. Revelation 16:18 describes it with chilling intensity. There was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth. So mighty an earthquake, and so great. Let that sink in. Since humanity first walked this planet, there has never been anything like it. No recorded disaster, no ancient catastrophe, no geological upheaval compares. This will not merely shake buildings, it will shake the foundations of existence itself. This event will change everything. It will not be a regional disaster. It will not be contained to a coastline or a single nation. It will be global, total, transformational. And Scripture makes something very clear. This earthquake happens prior to the second coming of Jesus Christ. It is not random chaos. It is not nature spiraling out of control. It is deliberate. It is timed. It is prophetic. Isaiah saw it centuries before John ever wrote Revelation. Isaiah declares, "Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger, the earth shall remove out of her place." That is not poetic symbolism for a mild tremor. That is planetary displacement. That is cosmic disturbance. Later, Isaiah intensifies the imagery. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage. Imagine the stability of mountains, the permanence of continents, now staggering like a man who cannot stand upright. The earth itself swaying, disoriented, unstable. And why? The transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it. The weight of humanity's rebellion presses down until the planet convulses under divine judgment. And Isaiah does not stop there. He continues, "Every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill shall be made low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough places plain." This is not minor reshaping. This is the leveling of the world's topography. Valleys rising, mountains collapsing, landscapes rewritten. Ezekiel adds another layer, revealing where this great shaking begins. "Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel." The epicenter is not random. It is specific. It begins in Israel. And the description grows even more dramatic. The fishes of the sea, the birds of the heavens, the beasts of the field, every creeping thing and every human being upon the face of the earth shall shake at his presence. At his presence. This is not tectonic coincidence. This is the manifestation of divine arrival. Mountains thrown down, steep places collapsing, every wall falling to the ground. No structure remains untouched. No fortress stands secure. Scripture reveals that this earthquake is directly connected to Christ saving the Jewish people from destruction at Armageddon. As the invading armies gather, as the world's powers converge against Jerusalem, Christ returns. He sets his foot upon the Mount of Olives. And when he does, the world splits. Doctrine and Covenants 45:48 declares, "Then shall the Lord set his foot upon this mount, and it shall cleave in twain." The mountain splits east to west. The earth trembles. It reels to and fro. Even the heavens shake. This is not metaphor. This is impact. Zechariah saw it too. "His feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives." and the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof. Half the mountain moves north, half moves south. A great valley forms. Geography itself obeys the king. Joel adds his voice. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. A roar from Jerusalem. The voice of God echoing across creation. The planet responds in trembling submission. Yet even in this chaos, Joel declares something profound. The Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. Judgment and deliverance happening at the same moment. This is not simply destruction, it is intervention. The Doctrine and Covenants gives an unmistakable instruction. Do not be deceived. Remain steadfast. Watch. Look forward to the signs. Look for the heavens to be shaken. Look for the earth to tremble and reel to and fro like a drunken man. Look for the valleys to rise and the mountains to be brought low. Look for the rough places to become smooth. And all of this, it says, will unfold when the angel sounds his trumpet. This is not vague prophecy. It is layered, repeated, reinforced by multiple prophets across centuries. When something is spoken once in Scripture, we take notice. When it is spoken again and again by Isaiah, Ezekiel, Joel, Zechariah, John, and modern Revelation, we pay attention. The consistency is staggering. And because these prophets often tie this great earthquake to other specific events, we can begin to understand not only that it will happen, but when it will happen in relation to everything else. This is where something remarkable takes place. The Scriptures allow us to triangulate. Triangulation is a method of determining position by referencing multiple fixed points. The more anchor points you have, the clearer the picture becomes. Scripture works in much the same way. When multiple prophets describe the same events and list them in connection with one another, we can compare them, cross-reference them, align them. And suddenly, what once seemed mysterious begins to form a sequence. Take Revelation 16:16 to 21. It describes the gathering at Armageddon. Then, immediately following that gathering, it describes the great earthquake, the greatest in human history. Armageddon precedes the earthquake. That's one anchor point. We may not know the calendar date, but we know the order. When we see the nations gathered in conflict around Jerusalem, when Armageddon unfolds, we can expect what follows, the shaking. Now, it's important to recognize that Scripture does not always present events in strict chronological order. Sometimes events are grouped thematically. Sometimes the narrative zooms forward and then backward. But there are clues. Words like, and then, and there, after this, often indicate a continuous sequence. They are signposts pointing to progression. When those signposts appear consistently across multiple passages, confidence in the timeline increases. However, caution is unnecessary. For example, one passage speaks of the resurrection of the righteous. They shall come forth, even the dead which die in me. At first glance, we might assume that resurrection happens immediately after the earthquake, but reading further clarifies, before this great day shall come. Now the timeline adjusts. We realize the resurrection occurs in proximity to these events, but not necessarily at the exact same moment. So the sequence grows more refined. Another anchor point appears. The sun shall be darkened, the moon turned to blood, and the stars fall from heaven. Where does that fit? We correlate it with other scriptures. Doctrine and Covenants 88. 87 references the same darkening of the sun and moon. Joel 3:15 to 16 also describes the sun and moon darkened, immediately connected to both Armageddon and the shaking of the earth. Now something becomes clear: the darkening of the sun, the moon turned to blood, the falling stars. The heavens rolled together like a scroll, as described in Revelation 6:12. These cosmic disturbances appear alongside the earthquake and Armageddon. They are not isolated incidents, they are intertwined. It may even be that they share the same divine root cause. When Christ returns in power, when he touches down upon the Mount of Olives, the effect ripples outward. Earthquakes, celestial signs, the heavens trembling, the earth convulsing, the boundaries between natural and supernatural collapsing. The prophets are not describing disconnected disasters. They are describing a singular, climactic intervention. As we continue aligning these prophetic anchor points, a pattern becomes undeniable. The gathering at Armageddon, the darkening of the sun and moon, the stars falling from heaven, the heavens rolling back like a scroll, the Lord roaring out of Zion, the Mount of Olives splitting in two, the earth reeling like a drunken man. These are not scattered, unrelated events, they converge. They build toward a singular, earth-shattering moment. Revelation 6:12 adds another layer of intensity. It describes a great earthquake, the sun becoming black as sackcloth, the moon like blood, and the stars of heaven falling to the earth as a fig tree casts its untimely figs when shaken by a mighty wind. Then it says the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. Imagine looking upward and seeing the sky itself retract, peel back, withdraw. The illusion of permanence stripped away in seconds. This is not ordinary cosmic imagery. This is reality being unveiled. The consistent connection across Isaiah, Joel, Revelation, Zechariah, Ezekiel, and modern Revelation points to a synchronized crescendo. When Christ descends to deliver his people, the entire created order responds. The planet cannot remain still in the presence of its creator. Mountains collapse, valleys rise, walls crumble, the seas tremble. The animals sense it, humanity feels it, and at the center of it all is Jerusalem. Picture the scene: nations gathered, armies positioned, weapons prepared, the world convinced it stands on the brink of political victory. And then the sky changes. Light dims. The atmosphere shifts. A roar echoes from Zion. The ground begins to tremble, not gradually, but violently. Then he comes. His feet touch the Mount of Olives, and the mountain splits, not metaphorically, not symbolically. It tears apart, half shifting north, half moving south. A valley forming where solid ground once stood. The epicenter of divine intervention. Shock waves rippling outward across continents. Tectonic plates buckling under a supernatural force. This is the earthquake that surpasses all others. Every recorded seismic event in human history, every tremor, every devastating quake, pales in comparison. This one reshapes geography itself. Islands vanish, steep places collapse, cities fall. Walls cannot withstand it. No bunker protects against it. No engineering innovation can resist it. Isaiah said the earth would stagger like a drunkard. That imagery becomes horrifyingly literal. Stability dissolves. Land that seemed immovable shifts. Humanity realizes in a single moment how fragile its foundation truly was. Yet even in that terror, there is purpose. This earthquake is not random destruction, it is deliverance. It is the physical manifestation of Christ intervening to save his covenant people from annihilation. It is judgment upon invading forces. It is the announcement that the King has arrived. The roar from Zion is not merely anger, it is authority reclaimed. Joel reminds us, the Lord will be the hope of his people. In the middle of collapsing mountains and trembling heavens, hope emerges. Not political hope, not military hope, divine hope. And as the heavens shake and the earth reels, humanity will be forced to confront a reality it has long denied. Creation answers to its creator. When we step back and look at the full prophetic picture, the clarity is overwhelming. This is not a minor tremor lost in the timeline of history. This is a divine marker, a signal flare in the final sequence of events. The great earthquake stands as one of the most dramatic signs that the second coming is not distant speculation. It is imminent reality. Because of the repeated warnings across Scripture, we are not left guessing blindly. We are given anchor points. Armageddon, the darkened sun, the moon turned to blood, the stars falling, the heavens rolled back, the Lord descending, the Mount of Olives splitting, the earth convulsing. These events lock together like pieces of a puzzle. And when one piece moves into place, the others follow. The gathering of nations signals the shaking is near. The cosmic signs confirm the climax is unfolding. The roar from Zion announces the king's intervention. The earthquake declares his arrival. This is why the Doctrine and Covenants urges believers not to be deceived, but to remain steadfast, watching, expecting, looking for the heavens to tremble and the earth to reel like a drunken man. These are not abstract metaphors. They are prophetic realities meant to awaken attention. And yet, for all its violence, this earthquake is not chaos without meaning. It is not the planet spinning out of control. It is control being restored. It is the Creator stepping back into open visibility. It is the physical world reacting to the presence of the one who formed it. Imagine the psychological weight of that day. Humanity has trusted in its systems, its science, its defenses, its alliances. It has built cities that scrape the sky and weapons that can destroy nations. And in a single moment, the ground beneath all of it shifts. Not from political instability, but from divine authority. Every wall falls, every stronghold collapses, every mountain bows low. The earth itself testifies. And in that shaking, something else becomes undeniable. This event has never happened before. Revelation's description is precise, such as was not since men were upon the earth. From the earliest civilizations to the modern age, nothing compares. This is the earthquake that redefines history into before and after. Before the king stood on the mount. After the king stood on the mount. It is both judgment and rescue in one breath. The invading armies are broken. The people of Israel are delivered, the earth is reshaped, and the presence of Christ is no longer hidden. So when we speak of the last days, when we attempt to understand the order of events, this great earthquake becomes a central pillar. It anchors the timeline. It signals the climax. It confirms that prophecy is not vague. It is precise. We may not know the exact day or hour, but we know the pattern. We know the sequence. And we know that when the shaking begins, when the heavens tremble and the earth reels, when the Mount of Olives splits beneath the feet of the returning king, history will reach its turning point. The world has never seen anything like it, and it never will again.